Hello, Nerd Soup fans. This is the It Movie Review. I'm Bo Oliver, the cricket cockroach alien thing. I'm here with the Turtle. Once again, how you doing, Turtle?
Doing good.
And I'm here with his Nerd Soup debut. Now, if you're a Nerd Soup OG, you've seen him pop up in videos. He's in the very first video. We have Andres, the talking marshmallow. How you doing, Andres?
I'm doing great.
Good to have you on the show. In a speaking role.
I'm honored.
If you're watching this high right now, this is just very fucked up. What have we done here on Nerd Soup? Okay, Andres, so me and you as snotty book readers, we're going to complain about all the things that they left out, but, you know, I'm an expert at that. That's what I do. I review Game of Thrones. But how do you think that this compared to the book, and also how did it compare to the 1990s miniseries?
I feel like the thing with the miniseries is that, although it does get a lot of praise, everyone always forgets that the adult part is bad, but I feel like there's no point of discussing that right now, given that we're only talking about part one of the sequel. But if we're just talking about the original miniseries through the kids' perspective, I feel like the new one did a way better job in the sense that, well, first of all, the kids were actually killed in a pretty brutal way, as opposed to their point the camera at Pennywise's face and then kill the character off screen.
Well, that first scene, just straight out of the book.
Oh, yeah.
And that was also in the miniseries, but you can really tell that they were embracing their R rating with that
scene.
Yeah. It was gruesome.
I was not expecting, even reading it, I wasn't expecting Georgie to die just like that.
Right.
Some of the best parts in the movies are the part without the It Clown. Just like all the kids, like the development of them, their coming-of-age story.
It's two movies in one. It's a coming-of-age movie, and then it's a horror movie. And I think some of the issues with the pacing, where they were trying to really establish that Pennywise was this supernatural threat, and then they would go to the coming-of-age. And that's how the book is as well, but the thing is, the book is 1,200 pages, so you can explore both of those genres. It's harder to do that in a movie, but I thought they balanced it pretty well.
It did feel a bit rushed at times, but I think the director did a good job keeping it all together.
Like, if you just took out a scene from the movie of, Richie making fun of one of his friends or just, fucking with them overall, it would just look like a comedy to you.
But to the Losers Club specifically, starting with Bill, the leader, I thought the kid who played Bill did a really good job. He was kind of channeling his inner Colin Firth from The King's Speech. I was a little worried about the stutter in the first scene. I was like, could he pull this off? Richie was my favorite character.
Beep, beep.
Yeah, beep, beep, Richie.
The best.
When they all pull straws to go into the evil house.
So, pulled the Wang sizes.
Yeah, he's like, you're lucky we're not measuring dicks. The way they wrote that character was perfect. And that actor, Finn Wolfhard, it's funny because in Stranger Things, and it is really the original Stranger Things, he's kind of playing the Bill role. He's the leader, and now he's the comic relief. Ben and Mike, they kind of switched roles in this a little bit. One of the most important characters in the book is Mike. I think Mike got the short end out of all the characters.
They did kind of drop the ball with Mike there.
He wasn't developed as well as all the other kids.
The giant bird. I'm very disappointed that the giant bird wasn't included in the movie.
Well, let's talk about Pennywise. What did you think of Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise?
I think Bill Skarsgård did a great job as the clown. He was scary. He delivered his lines well, and
I think Pennywise's introduction overall was great. When he ripped he literally ate Georgie's arm off.
Right.
I was not, even though I read the book, I didn't think they were going to go that hard. And I think parents were like, oh shit.
Right. Well, just when you see his mouth.
Yeah.
For me, I think that was the best Pennywise scene when he first appeared.
Yeah, I would say so.
After every time, he got a little less scary for me, but he was pretty scary when he showed up that first time.
Right, and his voice was so good. Hey, Georgie, you want your boat?
I love that scene where Mike's getting his ass beat by Henry Bowers and the gang, and he looks into the distance and he sees Pennywise eating an arm, and he just waves it oh, hey, what's up?
Hey, Mike.
You're next.
How's it going? Yeah, but the makeup.
Oh, yeah. It looks great.
And you look at the actor outside of the makeup, and he's got a weird look to him.
Dude's huge. He's 6'4".
Yeah, he's and they really played to that in the film. There were a lot of scenes when Pennywise was kind of walking around looking all lanky and shit. Some of the CGI was a bit iffy.
If you just freeze framed a specific scene, yeah. I feel like it's just going to end up having the same issue that all horror movies face, which is time. That's why, The Shining is one of the best horror movies ever, because it's mostly practical, if not all practical. Don't get me wrong, I love the movie, but let's say 15 years or so down the line, I'm sure a lot of new viewers might find some age to the computer-generated effects.
Well, you know what I loved about this movie is one scene that they took from the book that was also in the miniseries, the sink scene.
The sink scene.
That scene was straight out of The Shining. That reminded
Yeah.
me of that. It reminded me of, what's that horror movie with Johnny Depp where he fucking annihilated in his bedroom?
Oh, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, the way I imagined it when I read it was that, some blood got splattered around the bathroom.
Even
and-
in the miniseries, like it's a balloon that blows up. The whole sink's covered in blood, but in this movie, her face is literally just tied down. Like there's nothing she can do. She is stuck there, and she just has to embrace it.
Yeah, and then the
Like-
dad walks in and he doesn't notice any of it. That scene to me was one
Oh,
of the
yeah,
best
And
the
the
scenes.
whole
dad.
bathroom is straight covered in blood. Like
Yeah.
every single part of it.
What do you think about the dad?
That was one of the weirder changes. to
Yeah.
me.
I was confused about what was going on there. It seems like he was sexually abusing her.
They kind of hint at that in the book as well, but they don't necessarily show it. There's
Yeah.
a scene with Pennywise where he becomes her dad because that's her biggest fear. And he says, the reason that I beat you was because I was attracted to you.
When the dad like saw the note that Ben wrote, like your hair is what is like winter fire.
Yeah, January Embers.
Yeah, he like beat her ass immediately.
Yeah.
Said she actually like pretty much killed him.
And since this is a spoiler review, Beverly is a straight up murderer.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
she
Yeah,
should
they-
be going to juvie.
They kind of
It's
just
Henry.
passed over it.
Well, that was another change in the movie as well, the character of Henry Bowers. That's another thing with the movie. You just don't have time to develop these characters as well as you could in a book. It didn't make sense to me why Henry was bullying these kids. They hinted at it at the beginning that Henry Bowers is looking for you, Ben. And then he was just a psycho for the rest of the film.
why do you think they changed his dad to become a policeman? I didn't really see the need for it.
Right, if they would have kept his dad as the racist bigot that beats his son, then you can understand why Henry would be like that.
And he constantly told Henry, like, hate basically anyone who isn't us.
And especially the conflict that they have with Mike's family. Mike's family, they were successful farmers.
Basically bought them out.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
That makes way more sense on why Henry would hate them, as opposed to in the movie, it's like, he's black, get him.
Yeah. And that's another thing. They kind of hinted at the racism that Mike faces in this town, but it's different in the 80s. It's not going
Yeah.
to be like it is in the 50s.
There was a lot of racism in the book.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
that's one of the central things about the story.
And Mike is one of the only black kids in the town, correct?
He is the only black kid in the town, yeah.
It's like some Everybody Hates Chris. Like,
Everybody.
I wouldn't say it straight up annoys me, but Mike is supposed to become the town historian. Like, even though he isn't the historian as a kid, that's what he grows up to be. He's the person who stays in Derry, keeps the research, becomes depressed, and instead Ben is the one who's just been like pulling some Batman detective work for like the past summer, just studying like all the deaths.
Well, I also heard that they might keep Bill back in the town instead of Mike, which to me that kind of just, at that point, why even have Mike
Yeah.
come back to the town? That's his central role. He's the one that brings them all back together.
Yeah, Mike was disappointing in this movie.
Didn't have enough to work with. They didn't give him enough dialogue.
This movie was great for the horror genre, though, as in it is one of the better horror movies of the past 5-10 years. If you think about it, the horror genre has been falling off.
Well,
as of late.
let's see what we have. We have like the first Insidious movie. We have like The Conjuring, and The Witch.
The Witch is, I don't think anything. Well, The Witch is just a great movie on its own. I think that's what people forget about the horror genre is that you want to make a good movie. You just don't want to scare
The
people.
issue is just that the genre itself is polluted by so many.
You know what it is? Because it's so hard. It's so easy to scare people with the horror genre, but it's a lot more difficult to make you scared for the characters. In a movie like this, because I like the characters so much, because they were so likable,
The chemistry was great.
right, and I was scared for them. I didn't want anything to happen to them, even though I knew.
Even when I was watching that Georgie scene, I was like, maybe he'll be okay.
Yeah, he's fine. That guy Pennywise, he looks like a good guy.
He'll let him go.
Yeah, give him the
I
butt back.
loved that Pennywise's eyes changed to blue, just like in the book, to make Georgie feel more comfortable.
Right.
Like, that's just like one of the subtleties that I appreciate that the movie included.
Yeah, and I think the fan service was handled well. All the little Easter eggs from the books. It didn't feel too fan servicey. The theater we were in, when Pennywise said "beep beep Richie," I heard somebody in the background go, "Yeah."
We needed at least like one beep beep, Richie.
Yeah, that was cool. Now, Eddie was your favorite character in the book.
In the book, yes, but in the movie, not so much. I felt like in the book, he was more of just like a kid who wanted to be a kid, but his mom always stopped him, as opposed to in the movie, he's kind of stopping himself. Like, his mom's not there with him, but he stops himself in that inner voice.
Stanley's another character where you can tell that where Stanley's arc is going in chapter 2. We don't
Yeah.
want to spoil that for anybody, but
Like, if you just had to pick,
Yeah. And then Beverly, who's really
she's the bravest in my opinion.
right.
And the one thing that annoys me a little, she's obviously shown to be the bravest person, and she just becomes bait in the end of the movie. Okay, we all need to go save her. I wouldn't say it's that blatant about it, but you could definitely see it a little, that she's the main inspiration of why they're going down to the sewer, not just to like stop Pennywise.
Right, and it's also that relationship that she has with Bill where
Yeah,
they
well,
both
with
give
everyone.
right. Well, I love the love triangle between
Yeah.
those three
Hey,
characters.
apparently Ben was the best.
The biggest.
You could tell Ben fell in love as soon as he spoke to her.
Well, like you said, that she's definitely the bravest out of the bunch. It's that old saying that girls mature faster than guys. And the actress who plays Beverly, you could tell that she had a great maturity about her, which it did feel like she was older than the boys.
Definitely.
So overall, what would you give this movie out of 10?
8. No giant turtle.
You really... Imagine if they had you play the giant turtle
Would have been a 9.
and Bill, like, floats up to you. He's like, giant turtle guy, help me.